What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamistang, and today I'll give you my review here of the Honor X7b 5G. So in today's video, what we're going to do is of course go through all of the phone over here. I'm going to break it down into 4 main segments because we have already gone through the key specs and features, and I'm going to tell you how it translates to your everyday usage. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the price on this phone right here. So here the X7b in Malaysia does go for about 899 ringgit, which would place it below the $200 mark. And at this price point, I think this phone here delivers a lot of good bang for your buck value for this price point. So yes, in the first segment I want to talk about here is of course the holding experience. So basically how the phone would feel in your hand on a daily basis. And what I can say is that it feels really good. That's what she said. So first thing I'll talk about here is of course the weight of this phone. It of course feels not too light, which of course is really nice, but it doesn't feel too heavy either. So in case if you want to put it into your pocket or in your bag, or if you want to hold it while watching through your social media, it's not going to have a lot of that tiredness, that fatigueness on your hand. Other than that, I do like the camera layouts over here because it's not too bulky and it's not too big either. So in case if you want to put it flat on your table, you're not going to get a lot of rocking with it, which a lot of people might be worried because you might scratch the cameras over here. Other than that, I do like the squared size that we have all around this phone. It does give it more of the Apple feel when you're having this phone because it feels a little bit more premium indeed. It does give me a little bit more grip when it comes to this, and of course if you buy some phone cases, you would be able to put it up straight up on that and just watch your content without a phone stand. Again, this is something I like. Sometimes other people may not like it. Other than that, what I like about this phone is the reachability. So over on the sides here, we do have the power button, which does act as your fingerprint scanner. So it's very easy to reach and very easy to unlock your phone on the go. You don't really have to find for your optical scanner on the display. Just go on to the side here and it gets the job done. So all in all, how the holding experience on this is really good, and I'll give this a solid 8 out of 10. Okay, so next up here I want to talk about is of course the viewing experience. So basically I'm going to cover the display, the speakers, and also the haptics on the X7b. And what I can say about this is that this is where you will notice that they will have to cut some corners to make this phone at an affordable price. So the first thing here is of course the haptics on this phone. Definitely you're not going to get the premium haptics with the many other higher end phones. And of course it does give you good vibrations, good strong vibrations when you're going through your keypad or doing some light gaming over here. But of course if you want that subtle approach, when you're playing into your intense gaming, you will not get it with the X7b here. But all in all, it's still pretty decent. The second thing that of course they have to cut some corners is of course the display. Yes, we have an IPS LCD panel. We have only 90Hz instead of the 120Hz. So definitely you will feel that the smoothness is slightly lesser compared to your 120Hz display that you are probably used to if you're using those phones. But it's still not too bad. It's still definitely smoother than compared to your average 60Hz. Other than that, of course, when it comes to the colors on it, I would say it's still very decent. I think people who are buying into this price point over here will not complain about it too much. But of course, if you're a person that have used a lot of AMOLED panels or those higher ends and you're switching it down here to an IPS LCD, of course you will notice of course the colors will not look as vibrant or as punchy, or the deep blacks will not really hit the spot over there when you're using this display. Of course these are just some of the colors they have to cut. But of course one thing that I really do like about this at this price point is the speaker. So over here we do have a stereo speaker setup. This is really nice because most of the times at this price point, and even with the Honor models over here, when it doesn't reach the flagship level, they do not give you the stereo speaker setup. I'm actually very happy that we have a stereo speaker setup over here because you'll still be able to enjoy your content and also hear the nice sound over here with the big display. And of course, yes, this one here, like I mentioned before, does come with a large display over here. Yes, you will still have some bezels all around this phone, but it still delivers a lot of good screen space over here for your viewing experience. And of course, I think most people who would buy this for your parents or some people who might drop your phone here and there quite a lot. So they do give you a lot of protection with the front display over here, the tempered glass. So it does give you a lot of extra kind of assurance and some certainty that this phone will not break on you. And I think this is a really great phone here to give to someone who, who is in an industry where you have to take out your phone quite a bit, and if you're into some hard labor or whatsoever. So I think this is still really decent, and for that, the viewing experience on this, I'll give a good rating of 7 out of 10. Let's move on to the next segment over here, and that is of course the user experience. So this would cover actually the hardware and software side of things, and of course hardware is where they have to cut some corners again when it comes to the X7b, because over here we do not have any mid-range or flagship processor. We still do have a very decent processor here in the form of the Dimensity 6020. So far I've been using this phone for quite some time, playing some games here and there. Of course you get some starters, some refreshes here, because you're not going to get the UFS 4 storage, you're not going to get LPDDR4 or 5x RAM over here, but it is still pretty decent. I would say if you're going to open up few social media apps, you're not going to notice a lot of refreshes, but it still performs really good on a daily basis. Of course, one more thing you want to note is that this phone here is definitely not meant for your gaming sessions, your intense gaming sessions. So definitely don't go buying into this phone looking into getting a lot of good performances from this phone. Of course, when it comes to heating and whatsoever, you're not going to notice a lot of heating with this phone. It still performs really nice. But one thing I think they have done a really remarkable job here is of course when it comes to the battery life. So here we have a 6000 milliamps of battery over here, giving you more than a full day of usage. And I think a lot of people, like I mentioned before, are going to be using this phone where they are into a lot of hard labor work kind of thing, where it's kind of nitty and gritty. So they're not be able to actually charge their phone on the go. And I think that 6000 milliamps of battery over here would give you a lot of juice to last the whole day. Of course, when it comes to charging, it's not the fastest. I know they have many types of charger here, the 45, 60, 70 or whatever, but they're giving us just a normal 35 watts. So it's still pretty decent, but it still does take some time to charge out your phone, and that is one thing you want to consider. Most people would have to charge it up overnight anyway, so I think that isn't much of an issue. Of course, when it comes to software side of things, we are quite familiar with the Honor software over here. So it still performs as you would with many other Honor phones. So it's not too bad in that department. Like I mentioned before, sometimes when it comes to refreshes, you still get it with this phone. So for that, the user experience I will give on this is a solid 7.5 out of 10. Okay, and of course, last but not least, let's talk about the cameras on this phone. So when it comes to the cameras, again, this is where they have cut some corners to make it below the $200 mark. Yes, they still do give you a decent 108 megapixel main lens over here. I did wish that they have given us an ultra wide lens or something like that to give us a little bit more versatility when it comes to their cameras. You're not going to get it here with this phone, but it still does give you quite decent shots when you're outdoors with plenty of sunlight. Of course, when it comes to portraits or when it comes to night mode or whatever, you'll see that the photos do look a little bit more washed out and the colors don't really pop as much as you would expect from the mid-range or flagship phones. Of course, like I mentioned before, this is where they had to cut some corners, and of course you cannot record into 4K at 60 FPS or whatsoever. It still does give you 1080p HD quite decently, I would say, and it still gets the job done. The selfie department over here, again, isn't the best, but it still gets the job done for most people at this price point, so I wouldn't complain about it too much. So yes, for the camera experience on this, I would give this a solid 7 out of 10. Alright, so that is it with the Honor X7b over here. And of course, the ultimate question when it comes to this type of videos is, should you go out and buy it? I think this phone here is a special group. It's meant for the special group when it comes to this, because I think most people who want better cameras or better display might not want to get this phone. But people who want good battery life, they want a phone that will be quite durable in case if they drop it or whatsoever. I think this phone here does fit that bill really, really well. And I think if you are looking for someone to have the phone and not to worry about it too much, I think this is a really decent phone. So yeah, at the price point for about less than 200 bucks, I don't think you can fault this phone too much over here. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one.